So good morning. Thanks for joining us. This is a really exciting, passionate project for me. I heard about it for the first time when CTE came and spoke at the Sonoma County Alliance program, and immediately I felt like I needed to know more. I am currently the executive director of Sonoma County Alliance, but my kickstarter to my career was actually an internship in Petaluma, and so through that internship, I was able to build a career and learn the skills that I needed to be successful even without a college degree. And so this program is something that I'm really excited to share with you guys and to learn more about. And I actually ended up joining a committee at CTE because I was so passionate about it. So I'm really hoping that you guys enjoy the presentation and see the possibility and the potential, and that it works for your business and we can keep a strong, thriving workforce in Sonoma County. And from here, I'm going to just pass it off to Brandon Jewell, and he's going to walk us through what the program looks like.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ty. So my name is Brandon Jewell. I'm the Director of Student Experience at CT Foundation. We also have Andriana Duckworth from CT Foundation here for moral support. And she's a great connection and always at the Alliance as well. So the purpose of this whole thing is, as Ty mentioned, CT Foundation does a lot with schools, but in particular, this one program we have called Sonoma Corps is designed to get some students ready to enter the workforce and then help place them into internships. Where we're at right now, and I'll dive into all the details in a sec, but where we're at right now, we need more employer partners. We need more internship posts to make sure that we have enough opportunities for the students that are coming through this program. So that's the purpose of today. I'm going to share my screen here. Ty, I see people coming through. Do you want me to, are you going to admit them? Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. Great. So I can't see everybody right now, but that's okay. Can everybody see my screen? And if you're nodding, I can't see you. So say yes.
I can see it.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So today we're going to talk about what makes Sonoma Corps different than a lot of the other internship programs that you've gone through. If you haven't already, or if you just came into the chat, please put your name and your company into the chat so we know who's here. Throughout this, I'm going to introduce you to the Sonoma Corps program with a video. We have a guest here today from Keysight Technologies. Diego is here, and he's been working with some Sonoma Corps interns for a couple years now, and I asked for him to join us to give a little bit of an insight onto his experience and Keysight Technologies experience. Then we'll look at the structure of the program. We'll look at the timeline. We'll look at kind of what the hours and the pay and the length of the internships look like, and you'll see that there's a lot of flexibility there. And then we'll talk about the wraparound supports that the Sonoma Corps program provides, another thing that makes it a little different. Then we'll talk about the next steps. First thing, though, is I'm going to launch a poll here. Oh, I don't have access to that poll, Ty. It doesn't show up for me. There you go. So this poll here is just going to simply ask about your experience hosting internships. So have you never hosted an internship before? Have you, but maybe you don't have quite the official internship program built into your organization? Or yes, we host interns quite often and we've got a good program in place for that. So I'll give a little bit of time for everybody to answer that. Great. I think that's everybody. So let me end the poll and I'll share the results here. So it looks like we've got one person who's never hosted internships before, but a decent amount of you have, which is great. It looks like pretty split between those who have done internships on occasion and then those who might have a set structure. which is perfect. You know, the nice thing about the CTE Foundation Sonoma Corps program is it's flexible enough to kind of fit into, likely to fit into whatever you have. So we will talk about that in a second. Kind of just, I really want to, before I dive into this video, I want to give an overview, because really this is all going to be about what makes Sonoma Corps different than other internship programs you may know of or that you may have already at your organization. The structure of the program is definitely different, where this one, Sonoma Corps is focused on preparing the students, making sure that they've explored careers and are ready to enter an internship before we just place them. So that's a bit different than a lot of other internship programs. As I mentioned a couple times already, there's a lot of flexibility in what that internship looks like. So if you want a summer internship, that'll work. If you want a year-long internship, that'll work too. And I'll dive into all those details in a sec. And then as mentioned in the, just briefly in the agenda, we'll talk about the multi-organization wraparound supports that we have, both for the participants of the program, but also for the employer partners that are hosting the internships. So we'll get into all of that. But first, I want to play a video. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to play this video live, but I recognize that sometimes videos over Zoom, they can be choppy. So if that's the case, I just put the link to the YouTube video in the chat, so you can always view it that way. So I'm going to play this here.
Hi, my name is Paloma Guerrero. I was really lost during high school. I had no clue what I wanted to do when I graduated. At the end of junior year, I heard a presentation about Sonoma Corps, and I'll always remember that presentation because my eyes like lit up. I was like, this is a perfect opportunity because it's a gap year. I knew for sure I didn't want to go to school right after graduating, and I knew I needed to work. Some trainings in class we did during Sonoma Corps would be practicing like building a professional resume, professional emails, soft skills that employers might be looking for. The employer visits made me feel sometimes a little nervous, and then towards the end we got a few food ones, and that's where I was like, okay, this is something I kind of actually want to do, and got me really excited and motivated to finish. When I interviewed with Custos, they greeted me with a big smile. I remember that, and then they brought me into this exact room. I was really nervous during the interview. I knew I really wanted this job, and I got a phone call. He wanted to let me know, like, congratulations, we think you're a good fit for us. Just let us know if you accept our offer. And I told them yes right away. I worked with our maintenance supervisor, and he was our mentor for the time, showing us how to take apart equipment safely and how to clean them, and then how to assemble everything back together. I got introduced to making pies and how to cook pies, how to make plates, how to fill the pies, make the fillings, and how to package pies at the way end. And then towards my end of my internship, it kind of just clicked to me, like, okay, like, you have to show up every single day. It's a teamwork matter. You need to show up with a positive attitude. During my internship, I realized that something I actually wanted to study was business and food safety. After I finished my internship with Custos, I got hired as a full-time employee and continued my education at the Santa Rosa Junior College. I think Sonoma Corps changed my life by giving me this great opportunity to work for an employer that will push me and support me throughout my education. I know my parents were really proud when I got this opportunity because they didn't want to see me give up on my career goals. So I know on my dad's point of view, he sacrificed a lot growing up by coming from Mexico and leaving his family here to give us a better opportunity. So just seeing that I made him proud, and he was proud that I'm taking advantage of what I have and I'm not taking it for granted.
I love that video because, well, I love Paloma. I think she's incredible. She went through our first cohort of Sonoma Corps. And she's kind of that perfect example of what this program's about, where a student may not know what path they want to take, and they really have to be exposed to the opportunities, and they have to see what clicks for them. And that's what this program does, and that's what it did for Paloma. And now she, as she mentioned in the video, she's going to the junior college. She's studying business and food safety. And she, to this day, a couple years later, still works at Cousteau and is in fact leading teams now. So she's got a great path. I also would like to introduce Diego. Diego Latore is an R&D supervisor at Keysight Technologies. Keysight has taken several interns over the years. They've been one of those founding employer partners of ours that that we've been working with pretty closely, and they've taken anywhere between 1 to 3 a year. And I invited him here just to give his experience on this. Diego, I'd love for you to not necessarily talk about this kind of the structure, because I'll dive into the structure of the program, but your experience hosting interns and why Keysight, why it's important for Keysight to do that.
Thank you, Brandon, for inviting me, and good morning, everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Excellent. You know, for Keysight, we started to look at internships back before COVID. We were ready to deploy the program, and obviously COVID hit. It was very difficult, but we decided to keep supporting these local individuals' talent needed our support. The reason for it is we were looking at hiring individuals, and we couldn't find the local talent. So we did some type of investigation, and we realized that some of our local youth didn't even know we were around. They all, when they talked about technology, they all thought about, Facebook and Apple, and they all want to move to the Bay Area. Well, we have a high-tech company here, local, embedded in the community since 1960. So we decided to support these young individuals, and it has proven very, very successful for us. They come as a, teenager, basically not having the experience to be part of a team, and seeing them grow to the daily experiences, being able to communicate with a team, being able to share experiences, learn on the job, has been very, very successful. We have the example of a high school intern that came in. He knew he wanted to be somewhere in the computer science. He was hired for the internship of 1 year, and all of a sudden he just came out of the cocoon, for the lack of better words. And it showed that he had the talent, that's what we wanted to do, and he actually ended up being part of our permanent employee pool. I've had the opportunity to support, this is my 4th internship on my production line, and all of them have come, and it's been so rewarding to see them grow as individuals. From the first interview, where they are very nervous, their answers are very short, not really focused on the answer. You can tell they're very nervous. To see them when they're leaving, they are able to do a presentation. They feel confident on the topic, whatever it is. For us, what we're trying to do is help them discover what their passion is. When you talk about engineering is very genetic. We have over 10 different types of engineering positions, or in a big corporation like Keysight. So for them to go and understand what each individual responsibility is, it just you can see their eyes wide open and understanding. So for you guys out in the community, having a partnership with a program like this, being able to bring individuals to show them what your business is all about, given the opportunity to learn beyond what the high school experience shows, it's incredible. At least for me personally, very satisfaction. Seeing and I get teary every time that I see Paloma's video. It's amazing. And a person that says, I didn't know what I wanted to do in high school. I barely made it out of high school, and now she's enrolled in the JC, got a permanent job, local, being able to contribute not only as a personal with her family, but in the community. Just amazing. Right now, I have a student who graduated from Casa Grande. Same situation. Zach didn't know what he wanted, and right now I depend on him. And I just basically told him, learn whatever you want to do. And now he is actually becoming a technician. He is thinking about, not only being able to build, and he's inquiring about our ARC program, which is Apprentice Rising at Quayside. It is a technical program that we offer through the JC. Is looking, and so the possibilities for these individuals just come in front of them, which I think every business has the opportunity to present that to one individual, two individuals. How many you guys can support? That would be ideal.
Thank you so much, Diego. Yeah, you mentioned, I think you were talking Tom, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who just came in with that. He's just one of those whizzes at coding, and I'm also thinking about Jocelyn, who came to Keysight not knowing what she wants to do. Her parents, when she told them, I'm gonna try to intern at Keysight, they said, you're just gonna play on a computer all day, because they didn't understand either, right? Now, and we love Jocelyn because we actually took her on as an intern here after her internship at Keysight. But she is now off at Sac State studying computer science. And it was the Keysight internship that pointed her in that direction. So I mean, that's what this program's about. Those are the stories that come out of this. Even if somebody like Jocelyn, for whatever reason, whether the company decides they can't hire that person, or if the intern decides, well, I'm going to move on from this, it's still it's a life-changing experience. And when Jocelyn goes to Sac State, this might pull her back here, right? We need that workforce here locally to stay here. And sometimes, and very often, they move away. They don't come back here because of the cost of living. Luckily, she went to Sac, so it's not much better. But, our goal, hopefully, she'll come back, and she knows she's got connections at Keysight when she does. So thank you so much, Diego. I want to put it out there, too, if anybody here has any questions for Diego on his experience. Like I said, we'll get into the structure piece of that in a second. So maybe hold off on those kinds of questions. But if experiential questions for Diego?
I have one.
Go ahead, Dad.
Diego, I'm wondering how having an intern has benefited or perhaps provided some innovation in your organization.
I mean, for me personally, having an additional set of eyes to look at our processes, right? Each individual learns in a different page in a different way. So exposing a new individual to an already established process and their reactions that, I don't understand it. What can I do to make the process better, right? They come up with their own ideas. Hey, Diego, this doesn't make sense. What about if we were to do this first and this second? You say, you know what, that makes sense. So it's not that, oh my God, they created a brand new, telephone or anything like that. But those little things help me, help the team, and really help them in the confidence that they get. A very quick example. First email that you get from them is, yeah, thumbs up, emoji, thank you, right? And it's like, what? I mean, you're not texting. You are trying to respond to a professional email. Seeing them at the end of the, their internship, being able to do a executive summary. These are the highlights, boom, 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 and it just like, wow. And that's the piece that Sonoma Corps and the CT Foundation and this internship brings to individuals. They already have a leg up on, going into college, being able to write a paper, right? Not just emoji, thumbs up. Any other questions?
Cool. Well, Diego, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If you have the time, I'd recommend sticking around because we're talking about some of the little bit of changes that we've made this year versus the program that you're used to.
Oh, absolutely.
Great.
We're in that cycle already.
Great. And I also, I noticed we have one more person, Seth, who hopped on. Seth, earlier we were putting our names and our companies in the chat. Would you mind doing that when you get a chance? Sorry.
Sure. I'm just I'm driving, so I cannot do that.
Oh, then don't worry about it. I don't want you to risk yourself for that. Okay. Once again, I can't see you. Can you all see the screen here?
Yep.
Great. Thank you. So, as Diego was mentioning kind of just now, one of the benefits of bringing students on is that you have that kind of fresh perspective coming in. You have young folks that can bring a diverse number of perspectives. And that's super critical. And I want to go over some of the other benefits of hosting interns. One of which is just simply that you have access to the emerging talent. We mentioned earlier how critical it is that we are keeping our local youth here and help growing them professionally here, because it is near impossible to go outside of the area and bring in new talent. So this is a way to have access to that young talent, to show them what is possible here in Sonoma County within your company and within your industry. Also, it's a great way to foster leadership within your organization. So, every intern should have somebody there that they go to, a direct supervisor that is, yes, a supervisor, but also a bit of a mentor, right? This is a great way to build up new leadership within your organization. Say there's somebody who you're thinking, this person might make a good manager or supervisor, but I'm not 100% sure, they're not tested in that. They haven't overseen a team yet. This is a great way to see how they can manage something like that. So it's a great way to foster leadership within your own organization. As I mentioned earlier, diversity and inclusion. This is a great way to diversify your workforce, bring in a range of different perspectives, and that is where a lot of the innovation can happen. Obviously, it's going to create visibility with your organization, not only within the community, but really with these up and coming students that are becoming the next workforce. They don't know what they don't know, and so it's up to us to get involved and to say, hey, did you know Keysight Technologies, one of the top tech companies in the world, is headquartered here in Santa Rosa, for example. You don't have to go to the Central Valley. And then, of course, it's honestly, it's great for brand reputation to say, hey, we are making a difference in the community, and we are not only helping individuals, but we are also working to help the local business economy. And then working with CT Foundation as well, there are a lot of ways that we can help. We cross promote. We love to put out these stories, kind of like the Paloma one. All right, now I'm going to dive in to the structure and the timeline of everything. So here is the stripped down. Here's the basics. There's 2 phases to the Sonoma Corps program. Phase 1 is during a student's senior year in high school. During this, they go through. They're in a class, like a Sonoma Corps class, and they are learning all of the opportunities that are available to them with our employer partners. And that happens by employer partners coming into the classroom and speaking to the students and saying, hey, here's what the organization does, here's what this industry does, here's what a role within my company might do. And then there's also opportunities for us to take those students, go on a bus and drive over and visit a site. And that is even better because students can walk a production facility or see the actual business happening in person and really get a true feel of what it would be like to work within that organization. And so all that is during their senior year in high school. It's actually right now, the way this program is structured is it's the last semester of their last year of high school. So they take a Sonoma Corps class starting in January 2024, and then that ends in early June 2024. So then they graduate high school, then they go into an internship, and that is really where the crux of this partnership would, a lot of the work on your end would be to actually bring that intern. So going into a little bit more detail, that senior year, they are building a whole bunch of career readiness skills. We're doing resumes, we're building LinkedIn's, we're doing mock interviews. They're getting mentorship from the teacher, but also from CT Foundation and some of our partners as well. And I'll go into those partners in a second. And then, as I mentioned, we're exploring careers. And a lot of that has to do with the employer partners who are saying, yes, we want to take interns. And in this case, it would be summer 2024. You are building that in early. You are building a job description by like February-ish, so that students have an opportunity to really dive into all these different opportunities and make an informed decision to what they want to do next. Because near the end of their graduation, or before they graduate, I should say, they are applying and interviewing with your organization. So that'll be like a first kind of quick 15-minute interview that CT Foundation would help set up. And then, you get and if you want, you can have multiple people from your organization doing some of these initial kind of get to know you interviews. And then if you decide, okay, I've interviewed five people, these two really stood out to me, I'm going to bring them back for second or maybe third interviews. You can do that. That is on you. Just with that knowledge that they graduate in early June, and our hope is that the internship starts somewhere between June, July, or August. During that time in that internship, CT Foundation really kind of pushes them to go to the SRJC and at minimum take a work experience course. And that work experience course will provide them extra support as they go through the internship. They actually have like a coach from the work experience department, and they build learning goals. And what's great is that the SRJC will work with your organization as well on that. We also help them apply for scholarships, financial aid. And then they have not only that mentorship through the SRJC, but there's also, we partner with JobLink and 10,000 Degrees also for extra support and career coaching and mentorship. So here is when we get into the nitty gritty a little bit. So I want to just say, first and foremost, we are super flexible on what an internship looks like, but we do have some stipulations. So hours-wise, this can be a part-time internship or a full-time internship. We would just ask that whatever benefits that you normally pay a part-time or full-time, that is still given to those interns as well. That just because they have an internship title, they're not, stripped of any of that kind of stuff. We're asking that interns be paid around the $18 to $20 per hour. And the reason we ask that is because some of our employers would be starting them off at higher, and some would like to start them off a little bit lower. We try to squeeze everybody in towards the center so that students are not making a decision based on a buck or two extra an hour. They're making a decision based on what career interests that they have. And then the length of the internship can be anywhere from like 3 months to 12 months. So when we're talking flexibility, it's very flexible there. The only thing is that should be specified on the job description so that when students are looking through and they're making a decision on who they want to apply for an internship for, that will play into account. Some students might not want a year-long internship. They might think, oh, that's a lot. I feel more comfortable with 3 to 6 months. Some actually do want a longer internship. They want, in fact, Paloma mentioned in her video, hers was a year. She wanted a gap year. So I would also say if you have flexibility on that, like, so you're saying, hey, we're willing to take anyone between 3 to 6 months. We can do full-time or part-time. Put that in the job description too, because that just kind of makes your internship more flexible to their, their needs and their schooling and all of that. Actually, it increases the chance that you get more applications. And then at the request of some employers who really kind of say, spell this out for me in black and white, Brandon, I've kind of just created this grid to show when the start date and the end date would be of a 3, 6, and 12-month internship. So if you're going to be doing something, if you wanted to, like, say, do really just a summer internship, better to start them a little earlier. And then you can start as early as, say, June 15th or so, recognizing that their school ends on June 7th. And then a regular start date is kind of like right around July 1st. Kind of that boom, right at the start of the fiscal year is great. Some of our companies, they have these longer processes in order to interview and hire, especially the bigger companies. Let's say if you have a late start date, let's aim for sometime in early August to start that. Any later than that, you're kind of, there's a chance that you might lose that intern or that interest in that intern. And that intern might be like, well, I needed a job, so I got something else. I want to talk about the wraparound supports that CT Foundation offers. We partner with several organizations around the community. And these 3 in particular are really involved and each have their own piece that they bring to the table. The Santa Rosa Junior College, as I mentioned earlier, is their career coach as long as they're going to the work experience department. They set learning goals. They work, the staff there will work with the intern and the direct supervisor, and we'll meet with them twice a semester to check in on progress. And then, of course, a lot of them, by the way, most of them will probably be taking other classes at the junior college as well. 10,000 Degrees is who we partner with on the scholarship portion. So they're the scholarship experts. We're not. We pay 10,000 Degrees to dish up scholarships to the Sonoma Corps participants as long as they are eligible, and as long as they apply and then are eligible. And that scholarship is a $1,000 per year scholarship for up to 6 years. And that will, they have to be going to school in order to get that, obviously. But that's a great opportunity for them. We work with the Sonoma County WIB and JobLink. They've got so many career readiness and skill building programs at JobLink, and we just really want to connect these young folks to that. So when we're talking that, mentorship and counseling, other financial aid resources, they offer that to the students, which is so wonderful. When I say other financial resources, it could be like they can help pay for housing, books, childcare, even. But they also offer employer support. And so if you're not familiar with what JobLink offers employers, they have on-the-job training programs, transitional work experience, which is what TWEX stands for, and then other like just kind of customized trainings for your supervisors. And OJT and TWEX specifically are for to help offset costs when you're bringing on folks. So specifically with on-the-job training, are you training new folks? Transitional work experience is a little bit different, some different stipulations, but are you kind of retraining somebody or upskilling them? So we have a lot of these partnerships that support us in different ways. But on top of that, we have all these other community partners who have in some way officially worked with us at CTE Foundation on the Sonoma Corps program. So the Alliance, Ty, thank you so much for this partnership. She's the one who kind of built this virtual meetup, but also the Santa Rosa Chamber, Sonoma County Office of Ed, Economic Development Board, the city, Petaluma City Schools, the Santa Rosa City Schools, which are the folks that we work with to host these classes within their districts. And then Sonoma State University is also a part of that, who helped build this program. So as we kind of tail down to the end here, I just want to say some next steps, and then we'll get into some questions. If you're interested in hosting an internship, please just reach out to me, let me know. We do have, like, once you kind of say, yes, we're in, we're going to build this, we have an MOU that we have with our employer partners that just kind of secures commitment. It's non-binding, but it just simply says, okay, here's what CTE Foundation is going to do. Here's what the employer kind of needs to do in order for this to be successful. And it also says, if you have to pull out, you can just let us know, so that we're not leaving any of the incoming interns kind of high and dry if they were expecting that opportunity there. Once that happens, and in January, February, March, and then into April a little bit, we'll work with the employers on getting them involved in that first phase of the program where they're in their high school class. So you're not taking the interns on at that time. You're just going either into the class, or we're bringing the students out to you so that they can explore what opportunities are available to them. And as I mentioned, we would need those job descriptions somewhere around mid-February. And then by April, May time is where students are going to start to apply. And we will do some of those initial 15-minute screening interviews that I mentioned. Okay. That's a lot. But I'd love to take any questions that you have. Ty, I see your hands up.
I know I've heard about the program and I've learned so much, and this is so informative. So thank you, Brandon. What happens if we interview 3-4 people and just find that no one was a good fit this year?
Yeah, that's totally possible. There is, and this is another why the MOU is there, right? There's no guarantee as an employer partner, you'll get an intern, because you might have this great opportunity, but what if no students want that, and they don't apply for it? We can't force them to apply for it. So that's a possibility. On the other side, we tell the students there's no guarantee you'll get hired. So they could have all the interest in the world, and we'll work with them and we'll coach them and we'll try to make them as ready as possible. But there's totally a possibility that they can interview for a couple places and not get hired. Last year we had that happen. We had several employer partners drop off for one reason or another. And we had students who were expecting something, and then that employer partner, because of some internal business changes, was like, oh, sorry, we can't hire anybody right now. And so some of those, it was unfortunate, but some of those students who were graduating and looking forward to this internship, they couldn't get that. And that is a possibility, and we recognize that. There is no guarantee to this whole thing. But with all the supports that CTE Foundation and all the other partners offer, we're really working to make sure that doesn't happen as much, and that the students are as prepared, and so are the employers, as prepared as possible to make this a success.
Great. I have one more question if no one else wants to jump ahead of me here. It's full of questions. So is it best to give the intern a variety of tasks to provide them opportunities to learn different skills, so they could really explore what they're interested in? Or is
Yeah.
it better to specialize them?
Is it better to what? Sorry, I didn't hear that
Or is
last.
it better to specialize them?
You can do whatever you want that works best for your business. We've got examples of both. So there are some companies who might put somebody in a specific department and say, this is your role. Some might actually have like one overarching project that they'll work on within that time. That's great. I would say a little bit more than half, probably close to 65% of our employer partners will do something that's a little bit more rotational and explorational. So it'll be, all right, we're going to set up an internship where you're going to go through these 4 departments or roles or whatever. And then maybe, depending on the length of the internship, maybe halfway through, we'll check in with you and we'll see what really stood out to you. You know, if we're using some of the Keysight examples from Diego, it's like when we're talking about Jocelyn, right? If Jocelyn was seeing a lot of different opportunities, and then she goes, actually, this computer science, I really like it. As an example, you can say, okay, then we're going to tailor the rest of that internship toward that and in that direction. So there are 2 different ways to do it. Really up to you. And also, even within one company, and Keysight does this, you have if you have multiple interns, they might not all be doing the same thing. They can be in different departments. Either way, it's always great to do multiple interns at once if you can. Recognize that that's not possible, especially for smaller organizations. But having multiple go through the program at once creates a bit of a cohort, and they can help each other through the process, which is nice. Does that answer your question, Ty? Okay. Rebecca, I see your hand up, and then Ryan, I know that you put your hand up as well. So
yeah. So with Sonoma County Farm Bureau, we tend to host interns during the summer season, and we've actually been looking at possibly bringing one on for a longer period of time. So we're extremely interested in this opportunity. But we also are unique in that we're an organization that represents all agriculture here in Sonoma County. So would there be a way for maybe you to create some type of flyer or advertising that we can push out this opportunity to all of our members in a timely manner to make this deadline, so that anyone interested in bringing someone on, maybe for harvest season, or to help them with social media on the farm, or any type of internship opportunity, we want to make sure to get it out to our folks in the ag industry.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have like a one-pager that is just, PDF that you can just send right out. So we have that. We also, for those who really wanted to like dive into the details, we have a handbook. So we have when we're talking about all the kind of supports and wraparound supports that we offer, one of the things that we just recently created and will continue to add on to it is an employer handbook. And that just dives into like kind of every detail that we could think of. And I'm sure we'll add more, as well as we have a plan to add a lot of the resources available to employers for that. And then on our website too, we've got other resources like example internship job descriptions. We've got some previous recordings where we're connecting with our employer partners around specific topics like how to work with this young demographic. So we've got a lot of supports. To answer your question directly, yes, I would love to, Ty, if it's okay. I would love to maybe through you send this out to everybody who registered, send out the at least the flyer. Maybe the employer handbook is a bit too much right now. But just know that if anybody gets deeper into this and says, yes, we want to partner with you, CT Foundation, then we'll have a handbook for you.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Ryan, you had a question.
Yeah, Brandon, I did have a question. Can you maybe, and I think you're going to probably want to err on the side of who it does work for. Can you maybe talk a little bit about the best cases for when in like the kinds of businesses or situations that internships work the best for, but also where they don't make sense, where it doesn't work and where we shouldn't spend time? I'd be curious what that looks like.
Great. Thank you. Yeah, good question. I would say the ones that don't make sense, I wouldn't even say like necessarily there's no industry or anything like that where this doesn't make sense. it's more in the job specific. So the internship is designed to be a learning experience for the intern. It is not designed to be extra work for an organization. So, and it can be both. But like, if your goal is to, oh man, this storage room is so bad, I need somebody to go through and just clean it up and file everything from A to Z, and scan everything. It's like, that's kind of more of that's like a remedial task. What are they learning from that, right? It's okay to say, if you're on a manufacturing floor, grab a broom once in a while, but you're not really hiring somebody to sweep your floors all the time. There has to be some learning in this for their career development. So those are the ones that really don't work. We have had experiences where an employer has this job in mind, and then when it comes to actually like rubber hitting the road, it is really not the best learning experience for the student. And we've had to have those conversations with the employer and say, we're getting some feedback from the student. They're just feeling like you're kind of just putting them on these remedial filing tasks all the time. And that's not going to really last, because the intern will the intern has every right to just quit like a normal job, just as the employers have every right to say, this isn't working out, we're going to let you go. So just keep that in mind too. They are an employee of the company, and you can, so all of that kind of comes with it. So providing that best learning experience for them is going to make sure that they are really in it the whole way through. Does that answer your question, Ryan? Great, thank you. One thing I've kind of forgot to mention earlier. So the Sonoma Corps program is not at every school. Sonoma Corps is, it takes a lot to work with a school and a school district to build this new class into their schedule. And we're always looking to sort of expand, but previously we've been at Piner High School. Piner actually is taking a year off this year to restructure the program. But in that meantime, we've also started a new program at Ridgeway High School. So we have a Ridgeway High School one, and that's in the Santa Rosa area. And then we've been working with Casa Grande for a couple of years too. Casa Grande had a cohort, had one class last year. It had such like word of mouth success at the school that when it came time to register for the course again, 90 students tried registering. So we actually worked with Casa Grande High School to create a second course. So we actually have two now at Casa Grande, and then we have one at Ridgeway, and then we're always kind of we've got our kind of hands in a lot of different schools that are doing great things, and so likely we will have, say, another cohort next year is the goal. Diego, you had your hand up for a little bit and then took it down. Did you?
You just answered my question. I was wondering what happened, what the schools were participating this year, but I mean, it's great to see 90 students at Casa Grande.
Yeah, well, 60 because we wanted to focus on the seniors.
Yeah.
So we did 2 courses, 30 students each. So they're all seniors. Some of the people who tried registering were juniors, and it doesn't really work for the program, right? Because they wouldn't be graduating high school in the summer. So 60 coming out of Casa Grande, 30 or so coming out of Ridgeway. It is not a guarantee that in fact, all of them will not be wanting internships when they graduate. So if maybe half of them do, that's still 45 students or so that are graduating high school and going to be looking for an internship experience. So that's a lot of employer partners that we need to partner with, and a lot of partners that need to build some sort of internship into their organization. And so that's kind of what this is trying to get more employers to start building this in.
Brandon, it looks like there's a question from Tiffany in the chat. Unfortunately, her microphone isn't working. Just wanted to point out before we wrap up.
Yes. Yeah, CT Foundation can totally help you build that internship program. We've helped multiple companies, and it's different at every company, so we'll work hand in hand with you on that. But I've got multiple examples of what these can look like. example job descriptions that we can work on and kind of build off those templates. So yes, absolutely, CT Foundation is here to help you build that internship into your organization. I hope that answers your question, Tiff. Okay. Looks like that might be all the questions.
I have one more. I know that we mentioned, sweeping floors is not the best use of an intern, and totally agree with that. But a lot of agriculture is very hands-on and very manual labor based. So I know we would have to be pretty specific and transparent in that job description that we're asking for. And it would really have to be the right fit for that intern that would be willing to be out on a farm and, possibly taking care of animals, which does require a lot of labor and hands-on kind of work. So would we be okay as long as we were very transparent in that job description?
Yeah, I would say transparency is a great idea. Let the students decide whether or not that's something that they want to apply for and go into when they graduate. I would say just internally, just keep in mind that there should be a balance between they are just doing manual labor and what are they learning from this experience? Is there still a mentor who's kind of guiding them through this and saying, here's why we do this. Here's why we, pick the grapes at this time. Here's why the soil needs to be like this. And that becomes more of a learning experience for the entire, say, wine or ag industry versus, hey, go do this and check back in 8 hours.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And we've got other ag, by the way, we work with Jackson Family Wines, E&J Gallo, Ecotrano. And so we've got some other ag focused ones as well. Well, we're at 9:55. So this is perfect time to stop, I guess, and wrap up. I guess the last thing I will do, just so you all have it, is give you this. That Sonoma Corps handbook that I mentioned, if you wanted to look at it, you're welcome to scan this and it'll bring you to a Google Doc that you can really dive into the details. Otherwise, I would just recommend checking out our website at ctsonomacounty.org/Sonoma-Corp. There you'll have the frequently asked questions. You'll have previous slide decks and presentations that we've done, other the recordings that we've done, as well as kind of diving into some of the details like the timeline, best practices, and stuff like that. So I'm going to stop share. I hope you guys had time to put that up. All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you so much for hosting this. We really appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you,
everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
I'll send a follow-up email with some of this information that Brandon shared, including the flyer, Rebecca, so you guys will have all of that. And I'll include the link for the handbook too, in case you didn't get a chance to scan it. But thank you so much. I'm really excited, and hopefully the people that do decide to do an intern can create our own little cohort around that experience and support each other, and also allow our interns to support each other as well. And I think that would be a great opportunity.
Yeah. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Bye-bye.
Have a great morning.
Have a great weekend.